Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris, your sneaker professor. I'm just making sure I get this video in. I wrote an article. You guys can go to the description and read that article. It's extremely long. If you clicked on this video looking for something that was going to be titillating or kind of in your face and uncomfortable, or a lot of the kind of talk that most people are doing in regard to Kanye and Adidas, that's not what I do here. What I'm attempting to do is explain why, and here's the title: Adidas growth over the last 12 years provides deep insight into how losing Kanye will shape the company. So all of these different articles that are showing up online about Kanye and about Adidas, the banter that's inside of sneaker culture about Adidas is going to fail miserably without Kanye. My entire goal was, and this all initiated from a Twitter conversation. My entire goal in doing this research that you're going to find in this video, and I'm going to pop up pictures so you can see these pictures as I'm talking, was to establish that the most successful time for Adidas over the last 12 years, the most successful time has not been when Kanye was with the company. When he got with the company, there was some change, but what we have to do is go by the real numbers. And if we provide data, then it can't be argued. So if someone comes on this and says, well, yeah, but there's no arguing the data. So the picture that you see right here next to me in this article, like I said, you can go down, click the article, and go and read it. This picture shows that Adidas's growth, the biggest jump that they had, was from 2010 to 2012. And that 2010 to 2012, obviously, was way before Kanye ever got associated with the company. It was a $9 billion jump. $9 billion. Now, they have never grown that much at any time since the company was founded. This establishes that a lot of the things that people talk about in sneaker culture, where they talk about the importance of Kanye and all of these different things, where it's overblown and overstated, and a lot of the times people don't really understand what's happening in the business. Now, that's not me trying to be disrespectful to people who are talking and creating videos. I'm simply providing context, because if you don't have an opposing point of view, your argument isn't an argument. It's simply you giving out information. Now, when we see the second biggest growth for Adidas, the second biggest growth, if you guys are looking at this picture over here to my side, you see 2012, 2014, it stayed flat and then it decreased. But a very interesting parallel exists for Adidas. There's a very interesting parallel that exists. Adidas is getting ready to lose a CEO. Okay? Adidas had to sell Solomon back in the 2000s. They had to get prepared to sell TaylorMade. All of these things were happening after they acquired Reebok, and the work with Reebok wasn't actually being dealt with the correct way by the company. But you had all of these factors going into 2012 through 2014. When 2014 they lost their CEO, and that's when Casper Rorsted came in. But you have a similar situation happening right now. Reebok is selling, Adidas sold Reebok. Kanye is being dropped. And I'm not saying that Kanye doesn't make a big difference to Adidas. The brand is worth $1 billion. In some instances, people are saying it's worth $2 billion. If you go and look at articles online, you find that they're saying in the next quarter, losing Kanye or dropping Kanye is going to cost them $260 million. That's significant money, because when you get into it and you're like $260 million a quarter, that's $1 billion brand. But the second growth, the 2014 to 2016, if you look over here, I'm going to move my mouse so you can see that. That's the second biggest spike that they had, and that was 4.8 billion. Now, a lot of people tied that into Yeezy being signed by the company, I think in 2014. But remember, the first Yeezy didn't come out until 2015. 2015, all right? And when it did come out at that time, they only released in 2016. There's a GQ article that talks about that only 200,000 plus Yeezys have been placed into circulation. Now, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, that's what people don't tend to remember is that, and I'm using a lot of that, so I apologize. The ZX Flux, the Stan Smith had its moment in the sun. But NMD was an incredibly strong brand for Adidas. None of those things had to do with Kanye at all. And some people will tie Ultra Boost to Kanye because he wore a white pair during a concert. And that is not what you tie to it, because if you go back to specialty running, when Boost first came out, it took off like a rocket for specialty running stores and for other running stores. People were buying it to perform, to participate in running events. Ultra Boost grew. NMD grew. Stan Smith and Superstar exploded. You had women wearing that shoe like crazy. It's kind of like the women running around wearing dirty Air Force Ones right now. That happened during this explosive moment from 2014 to 2016. But another thing took place during that 2016 period. And one was the fact that Adidas was doing this incredible marketing. Now, I want to go and find that, but it's going to be hard for me to do that and continue to talk. Maybe I'll drop a picture in here. But Adidas won the Grand Prix of marketing. As a matter of fact, I can take the time to open this up so you can see it, and you'll know that I'm not just kind of talking here. And I think it's Grand Prix in that way, and marketing. And this is on my site, so you can go and do, bam, here it is. So, and that didn't take that long for me to find it. And it's important for me to bring this up and show you guys. So you look over here to my side, I'll put this link in the description as well. And I wrote an article in 2017 in June. Now, I'm going to get back to some extremely important points about this big chart that shows you the growth. Okay, I'm going to get back to it. A really important point. Just bear with me. All right, so Adidas Originals won the campaign for entertainment for music Grand Prix. This Originals is never finished. The amazing thing that happened for Adidas, and yeah, Kanye was there at that time, was, believe it or not, and you'll see all these articles here, they had a Cannes Award. They won this award. They beat out Nike. And the marketing around Boost and NMD was incredible. Sneaker culture overlooks that moment in time as if it didn't happen. But here's the craziest part. Adidas literally had a #1 song built around this campaign that you see to my side. That #1 song that was created specifically for the Your Future Is Not Mine and Originals Is Never Finished campaign was amazing. So what you had from 2014 to 2016 was this amazing growth by Adidas, but it also coincides with, and here we go, this is where you really need to listen. It coincides with, and I'm going to jump off of this part of it, and I'm going to go to the scale of sport. And if you don't know what the scale of sport is, scale of sport was Nike's Investors Day. Nike's Investors Day. This Investors Day took place in October of 2017. This Investors Day, I broke it down and I tracked the entire thing. And I gave all of the details that came out of that investment day. And this is what Nike did at the end of 2017. They introduced 3 platforms in running: ZoomX, React, Nike Air 270. They introduced, Converse had another part that they were placing into, Nike was putting their tech into Converse. Jordan brand, and it's down here at the bottom, I'm getting to it. Jordan brand had a new method of make. All of these things have been completely overlooked by sneaker culture. Nike introduced Edit to Amplify. And I know somebody's like, well, why are you talking about Nike? I'm getting to my point. From 2014, 2013, 2014, 2015, what you had was Nike taking accounts. And during the scale of sport is when they announced that they were going to reduce brand partners from 30,000 accounts to basically 40 accounts. So you had Nike pulling out of these marketplaces. So what you had from 2014 to 2016 was Adidas gaining all of this ground, but Adidas also was picking up ground because Nike was pulling out of these different stores. If you don't understand what I'm saying, let me try and simplify it as best as I can. And I have more charts on this page that I need to get to so you guys can see this, because I know you came here looking for Yeezy information. But this is what happens when a company takes, all right, let's say you have a store, right? Nike says, we're only going to give you, they used to give you 80 shoes. Nike says, we're going to give you 50 shoes. Okay? That's what Nike did to a bunch of accounts. And then Nike took Nike out altogether on a lot of different mom and pop shops. Those mom and pop shops, in order to survive, they doubled down on Adidas and ordered more Adidas product. So the growth that you see in 2014, 2016 was because of Nike pulling product and going direct to consumer. So you'll see 2 million here from 2016 to 2018. You'll see 2 million from 2018 to 2019. And this is important. Kanye did not have a lifting effect on Adidas. People, as much as everybody likes to say that folks started wearing Adidas because of Kanye, people were wearing Stan Smiths and Superstars and NMDs and Ultra Boost. Those shoes slowed down. Adidas made I think, a critical error in the way they operated in North America. They doubled down on Kanye and they began to release more Kanye shoes. All right. So at the time that they had all of this shelf space that Nike was giving them, they introduced more Kanye shoes. Introducing more Kanye shoes shows you these $2 billion jumps in revenue for Adidas in 2018 to 2019. They do not match $5.7 billion in 2010 to $19.3 billion in 2016. This growth does not match. It is not insignificant, however, but because they, in, let's see, 2016, 2015, 2016, there was a GQ article, and I'm going to go down into the discussion points here, because what I want to show you is a really interesting thing that I think everyone is missing, all right? In 2016, GQ interviewed Kanye, and he said that there were 200,000 shoes, which is, like I said, 2015, 2016 is not significant. In 2020, Complex found that Adidas had sold $1.3 billion in Yeezy sneakers. Why is this important, and why am I bringing this up in relation to the growth in the last 4 years and the mistakes that Adidas made? Well, this is the thing. Yeezy footwear is $220 and up. The cheapest shoe, I think, was the Calabasas at the time, but they didn't make very many of those. So when Complex stated that there were $1.3 billion worth of sneakers sold in 2020, that $1.3 billion factors into this growth that's over here. What you'll also notice is that Adidas stopped advertising. As Kanye became more important to them, they stopped advertising NMD. NMD started going on sale, but NMD was marked down to $79.99 in 2020. That was covered up by the fact that Adidas had started rolling out so many Yeezy shoes. But here's something interesting. If you're a person that's in resale, you noticed over the last 2 to 3 years that the Yeezy shoes were not reselling in the same way that they did when they first came out with your 750s or your Turtle Doves or your Zebras, the shoes that have not been re-released by Adidas. Those shoes, the newer shoes, have not been hitting resale in the same way. And the reason is because most of the product by Yeezy, when it was super limited, it had more value. The more they made, that 1.3 billion, which is an impressive number, the less value Yeezy had. Now, how do I prove this? So all of the writing that you see right now started because of a Twitter thread. All right. And I was like, okay, Adidas had a halo effect from Yeezy. And I was like, no, that's not true. I said, when people had to pick up, and this is me talking on Twitter to someone, when people had to pick up their raffles, store managers made people buy Adidas sweatpants or Adidas shirt or an Adidas hat or accessories or shoe cleaner just to pick up your store raffle win. The halo effect, the lifting effect of Yeezy selling more Adidas product was a byproduct of store managers increasing their sales on additional products. Now, I made that claim and I didn't go out, I didn't prove it when I made it. So I did more additional research here, and I'm going to refresh this because I saw that ad there and I don't want that ad to be in the middle of what we're talking about. I went and did some research, and the best thing that I can give you if you're watching this video and you're super interested in what's happening with Yeezy is when you get into looking at the research over the last year, Yeezy's value overall has decreased. The brand was slowing down. The foam runner and the foam runner and what's the other shoe? Because I actually have charts down here with those shoes in it. The foam runner and the slide, right, helped Yeezy this year as far as resale is concerned. So when we go back and we begin to look, if I make the claim that the majority of Yeezy product is basically for resale, there's no halo effect there. That simply means that Yeezy is creating brand heat for Yeezy. It was not creating brand heat for Adidas. So I had to do some research. And here is where these charts come in. And I'm going to open these up so you can look at this chart. Using the keyword Adidas sneakers, this chart shows you the sales. As a matter of fact, I may have to make it smaller because I may be covering it over here on the side. And yeah, I am. I'm covering it on the side. So I need to open this up so you can see it in a different way. But what you're looking at over here on this side where you can see these things, it's 1.2 million shoes or Adidas items are sold at an average price of $99. So you see this over here. You can't see what's over on the side because it's not big enough. I need to, matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to drop the image in while I'm talking so you can see it right now. Boom. Here's the image. So you can see this, and you see that there were 120 million sales, and you look, and this is at 365 days, right? Now, why did I do this? I needed to compare Adidas sneakers to Yeezy. Yeezy is much smaller, a much smaller part of Adidas, but here's the interesting thing. I'm dropping this in so you can see it. This is Yeezy data, and I'm dropping a picture in so you can see it. Yeezy data shows an average sold price of $211, right? And you also see that there's 358,659 pairs that were sold. And there were 87,000 total sellers over the last 365 days for $75 million. This is on eBay. Now, this is the interesting thing about me dropping these pictures in. And I'm going to read this part to you and make it because it needs to be clear. For me to make the claim that most of Yeezy was bought to resale, I'm making that claim because people who stress that Yeezy was lifted by Kanye, they are looking at it and saying that everything in, Adidas is basically all of Adidas's products were lifted up because Kanye was there. And if that is the truth, why on earth would the average sale price for Adidas products be $99? It would be closer to whatever the retail value is. So if you have NMDs or you have Ultra Boost, that's a $180 shoe, that's a $140 shoe. Then your average price would be much higher. But the real fact is, it did not lift the boat for everything at Adidas. More important, when you have 85,000, 87,000 people selling Yeezys, that means probably every other shoe that's made was resold. That's not brand loyalty. That's just people making money. So how do you prove how many shoes are being resold? This is what I did. I took the eBay data that you saw in this picture, and it was the 300,000 plus that was sold, and that equals basically if Yeezy is selling 1.3 billion and you multiply 1.3 billion or you divide it by 220, you come up with 6 million. So that means that there's 6 million Yeezys selling a year, right? 6 million Yeezys. So if there are 6 million Yeezys being sold, and I say that a considerable amount of those are entering resale, is that brand loyalty to Adidas? No, but I have to prove this. So what I'm doing is taking that 358,000 and I'm saying that's 5.98% of Yeezy. So that's 300,000 out of 6 million is 5% or 6%. I know that eBay sells fewer shoes than StockX. So I'm going to go into StockX and I'm going to pull a shoe, one particular shoe, right? I'm going to look at the MX Oat, right? So this is the MX Oat. The data that I found for eBay, I went in and did the search and I said, okay, on eBay, 4,840 pair of these shoes were sold since October of last year. And I use this shoe particularly because it's October right now. So October for this full year, 4,840 pairs sold on eBay, 28,000 pairs sold on StockX over the last 12 months. This immediately gives me the ability to create this ratio. Now, I'm only using the MX Oat. If I used a different sneaker, it could be bigger or it could be smaller. So I do this ratio and I compare it. So that means if 358,000 shoes sold on eBay, that means StockX probably sold 2 million pair of Yeezys over the last year. These are not hard numbers, but in doing statistics and doing ratios, this is as close as we can get to real numbers here. All right. So let's keep going. And I know it's a lot, man. If you're still with me, I appreciate you for following along. This is not a quick video by any means. Like I said, I'm your sneaker professor, and it takes time to get through this stuff. I wish it was super quick and we could just do this and just post it and be done. But it's not going to work that way. This is going to be very tedious. Thank you for staying with me. I appreciate you. Go get a drink of water, whatever. Put me on pause. Put it in the background if you have to. So when I did this data, and I said that 2 million, this implies that over 35%, if it's 6 million pair of Yeezys that sold in a year, which puts us at right around 1.2 billion if we put the price at $220. If it's 6 million pair and StockX sold, 2 million 115,000 and eBay sold 358,000, we're looking at basically 35% of the shoes that are made, right? And I'm going here to give you this data. It's you can go and read it, but I know some people like to listen, and listening to this is going to help. 35% of all Yeezy sneakers made get resold. That's not brand loyalty for Adidas. That only helps Yeezy. Adidas is not, they only benefit financially. That's all Adidas does. They get to benefit financially from the partnership with Yeezy. But losing the 1.3 billion, which was 2020, and it may be more now, but I'm not looking at that data. And if you remember at the beginning, I didn't even go to 2020 here because of COVID, the quarantine, and all of that. So I just kind of stayed away from it. But if we come down here and we start looking at the idea of this scarcity policy, we also have to ask ourselves if Yeezys are going to increase in value. So I was like, all right, well, let me sit down and go look at a few things again. And I did the last 30 days. And I'm going to open this up. And, well, you can see it pretty good here. You can see it pretty good here. I could make that a bit bigger, but you can see that in the last 30 days, you look across and it's pretty flat. And then you get a spike here on the 24th, right? The 25th. So that's October 24th. The 25th, you get this spike, but then you get this drop. That drop is consistent. I did this on the 27th. Today is the 28th, and the drop is consistent. The prices on a lot of Yeezy product, when you look at a lot of Yeezy product, it went up, but not as much as you think it would have. Not as much as you think it would have. So what we have to get into now is for the people who are in resale, who are thinking about running out, grabbing Yeezys or getting them from where they can get them, buying them again on, hoping that the price will go up. I do not think the price is going to go up on Yeezy. I think, and I don't mean that it won't go up. It's going to go up incrementally because anything that's not made anymore becomes valuable. So it's going to go up, but I don't think it's going to go up in the way that you would expect it to. So I went to do more research. I should break these videos up into 3 sections, and maybe I will. And that will help you kind of get into it because this is long, and I know it's long. I did an additional set of graphics. So StockX offers a top 10 sneakers chart, right? I took the time to pull up that top 4 Yeezy products over the last 72 hours to see if resale had increased on those top 4 pairs. I followed that research up with eBay sales on the same models using the keyword style code. All right, and style code means the style code for each individual shoe. All right, so you can compare that information below. And what you'll see next to me when I scroll up is you're going to get a chart that shows you something really interesting. So on StockX, and these are my data points, 4 most popular models over the last 72 hours since the announcement came that there's no more Yeezy. The 4 most popular models have been the Yeezy Slide Bone, the Yeezy Slide Onyx, the Foam Runner Onyx, and the 350 V2 Salt. Those have been the 4 most popular Yeezys on StockX. So I'm going to compare those to the 4 most popular, not the 4 most popular, but I'm going to compare the sales on StockX to eBay to give you 2 different data sets that you can use. I didn't put my logo on these charts. If you want to go to the website and pull them down and use them in your own videos, you can tag me, or you can say, hey, I got this from Arch by CCB, and share the station. That'll be great. But if you don't, I ain't tripping. The prices of the shoes are going up. Now, I think they're going to stay relatively close to these price points. But the Slide Bone went up 6.8%. The Slide Onyx, 10.4%. The Foam Runner, 10.1%. 118 to 148. This is important because these slides only cost $80. The Foam Runners, I think they're $100 retail. So that's considerable. That's a really nice return on your money. I wouldn't blame you for running out to try and find as many as you can and buy them. But this is the problem now. When you buy them, you're going to have to buy them at this price point of $158 to $174. That means you're going to have to sell them above $225 to turn any type of profit. The likelihood of people buying it, if they release as Adidas Foam Runners, not Yeezy, Adidas Foam Runners, is slim, because the same people who bought these will probably buy them when they're Adidas Foam Runners. Maybe I'm wrong. We will see in the future. But the 350 V2 Salt was $271 to $303, 11.8%. The sneaker had the biggest growth. The shoes that have the highest resale value currently are the shoes that haven't been re-released by Adidas, the Turtle Dove, the Zebra, things like that. They're anomalies though. There aren't anymore. And that's why they're going to sell for a higher amount, but you're going to have to pay a higher amount to get in on that kind of money. So there's a little bit of a misdirection happening with a lot of these articles talking about the growth of how much things are selling. So when you come down here to eBay, right, and you guys are looking over here to my side, the same shoes on eBay, the growth was 8.3% on the Slide Bone, 7.6%, which is much less than it is on StockX, on the Slide Onyx. But this is the most impressive one. And if you're a person who's going to go out and try and find these shoes, the Foam Runner Onyx is the one you need to be looking for, man. The growth there on eBay was 22%. That is, if this was a stock, that would be off the damn charts. Off the charts. The 350 Salt, flat. 0.3% on eBay. Sell it on StockX if you have it. I'm almost thinking I should probably start doing this kind of stuff a little bit more, because you probably are more interested in these things. But this is the deal. That's a lot of talking. Once again, I appreciate you if you stayed this far. I'm glad if you like this kind of content, man. I'll start doing more of this and stop focusing on doing just the little bitty shoe release things. But man, there's a lot going on. I'm not getting into whether Kanye was right or wrong. I do really think he was stupid. And the reason I think that is because whatever you're attempting to accomplish, you had a great partner in Adidas, a fantastic partner. All of the things that you say you want to do to reach and assist and help kids, working with the brands that you were partnered with, they would have done anything for Kanye. Whatever's happening with that cat is a completely different thing, man. And it's almost insane. Almost insane. The partnership with Adidas was amazing. I'm not saying that Kanye didn't help Adidas. He did. He did. But before you argue that they're going to fall flat, this is a company in 2010 that was doing $5.7 billion a year. By 2016, they were at 19.3. You don't do that kind of growth. And this is before Kanye. Now, I know Kanye came at 2014, but the NMD, the ZX Flux, I don't know if you remember the Prism, the Ocean, the print series of ZX Fluxes from Adidas. Those things killed. That had nothing to do with Kanye. Nothing at all. This kind of growth from 2010 to 2016 far exceeds the growth that they had from 2016 to 2019 to 2020. Is it going to hurt Adidas? In the short term it is. But people have short memories. Adidas can now get back to doing what they did with the marketing. All right, with the marketing. And you see these articles that show that Adidas stock jumps 9%. The future is not mine. When that commercial release, and I'm going to end on this one. Do you know they ran that commercial at the end of the debate of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump? They ran the "Future is not mine" commercial, and it was genius. But here's one thing, and I said I was going to end this. Here's one thing that you really have to think about when you look at Adidas's growth. And I want you to take this with you and understand it and internalize it because it's extremely important. As Nike removes accounts from 2014 till now, as Nike removed accounts, Adidas sold more shoes to the accounts that Nike left behind. So this growth of $2 billion incrementally from 2016 to 2017 to 2018 to 2019, it has a lot to do with Nike's scale of sport, consumer direct offense, and here's the revolutionary method of making an upper in 30 seconds. All of this growth by Adidas has a lot to do with Nike leaving a lot of real estate on the table at retail. If you don't think about that aspect of it, you're missing the point. All right? So if you go back through the scale of sport, it's going to teach you more than you ever wanted to learn about Nike's time from 2017 until now. Go back and read it. It's 2 different posts because once I finished the information on this post, I did the afternoon session as well. And this is back in 2017. All right? This is back in 2017, so it gives you everything you need to discuss the sneaker industry as it relates to Nike. And it gives you what you need to understand why Adidas has been capable of growing the way they have. And I'm not saying this is the only reason they grew. Kanye was a factor. But any of you who are thinking that this company is in trouble, you couldn't be more wrong. And that's it. I'm going to wrap that up. I'm definitely probably going to split this up because this had to be about a 45-minute chat. So I'll split it up into 4s, and that way it'll be easily digested. I'll see you guys on the next one. And that's it, y'all. Peace. Hopefully this was good.